Whether if you think this is the new Korean Range Rover or just a Defender knockoff, I think we can all agree that the 5th generation Santa Fe looks a hell of a lot better than its predecessor. I think I've gotten more looks in this mid-size family SUV than I have in any other cars. Behind me is the all-new from the ground up 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe XRT. With a starting price of $44,000 Canadian and up to $56,000 Canadian for the top trim, the XRT off-road pack is a mid-trim sitting in about $49,000 Canadian dollars. Today we're going to find out what Hyundai has made to improve this vehicle for this generation and then go for a drive. And then we're going to find out if this is the best midsize 3-row SUV you can buy. Starting out in the front, I really like this new design. The boxy shape paired with really sleek lines make this look very modern and also very rugged. The H-pattern daytime running light paired with the light bar that goes across looks super cool, especially at night. Very, very recognizable. Down here we have some functional air vents, and in the middle we actually have some active air curtains that opens and closes depending if the engine needs more cooling. Super nice. And unlike the Palisade Urban we tested a few weeks ago, this Santa Fe actually have uniformly black emblems and logos all across the car. Off to the side, it may seem like this 5th gen Santa Fe looks significantly larger in size than the 4th gen, but it's actually all just an illusion because of its boxy shape. In reality, this vehicle is only 1.8 inch longer than its predecessor and the width remained the same. This being the XRT trim, it is equipped with 30-inch all-terrain tires with 18-inch rims and an extra 1.4 inch of ground clearance. Over to the side here, we get a nice grab handle for access to all of your overlanding needs. And then you will also notice that the door is particularly large. Hyundai did this in hopes to make it easier to get into the 3rd row, which I think it's a success, and the overall looks look fantastic. On to the rear. The back of the Santa Fe is definitely the most controversial part of this new design, and I haven't decided whether if I like the vertical design or not, but let's get into it. The XRT trim has a tow rating of 4,500 pounds, the hybrid trims 2,000 pounds, and the rest of the gas models 3,500 pounds. The taillight, H-pattern taillights, looks really nice down here, but I do think it could be a bit higher. It looks a little weird. But I do want to applaud and thank you, Hyundai, for finally bringing the turn signals back up to the main taillight units instead of down in the bumper. Really appreciate it. In terms of trunk space, if you have the 3rd row seats up, you're not really working with a lot here. There is some underfloor storage, but not a whole lot. But the good thing is, you can always just fold down these seats and you get a humongous trunk. The Santa Fe currently features 2 powertrain options, a hybrid and a non-hybrid. Over here in Canada, the base models actually get the hybrid engine and the mid to higher trims get the more powerful gas-only version. The hybrid engine is a 1.6 liter turbo engine paired with electric motors to produce a combined total of 231 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. But here we have the more powerful 2.5 liter GDI and MPI turbo inline-4 engine, producing a total of 277 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Power is routed through an 8-speed dual-clutch wet-type transmission to all 4 wheels. The 2nd row seats of the Santa Fe is extremely spacious with a lot of legroom and a lot of headroom. The leatherette seats are also very comfortable and offer a great range of adjustability. Pulling it forwards and backwards, no problem. Reclining it, a really good amount of reclination. No panoramic sunroof in this trim, however, but we do get what's cool is basically the exact same design from the G-Wagon on the door handles and this trim piece over here. That's what I recognized. I don't know about you, but you tell me. Something to note is that when I do close the door, I often pull on the cup holder instead of the armrest over here. Maybe something better could be implemented here instead of me pulling the cup holder. What's really neat is that there's a really clever system of storage here where you can pull up the center console from the front as well as from the rear. What's better is that there is a drawer here that you can pull out for more storage for the second row. The best part about the second row seats is that you actually get a bench seat. So that means you can sit 3 in the Santa Fe on the second row. And cherry on top is that the seatbelt here is seat mounted. So say bye-bye to any sort of seatbelt contraption up on the roof. Jumping into the third row seat of a mid-size SUV isn't always going to be the easiest thing ever. However, Hyundai has built this wide door as big as they can to make this maybe just a little bit easier. I just have to press this button. The seats slide forward and I'm in. The third row seats, I think, is a highlight for this new gen Santa Fe. The second row seats, if it's not pulled all the way back like it is right now, I get plenty of room. But even as it stands, I still get about an inch worth of leg room. Headroom is amazing in this. I get, good 5-6 inches of headroom over here, and for reference, I'm 5'9". I think I actually fit in here a little bit better than I do in some full-size SUV, which is crazy. The only drawback is that the seats are a little bit on the lower side, so that means my legs are always crooked like this. Not fantastic for long road trips, but I'm also not complaining. In terms of features, over here I get a little bit of HVAC controls, an air vent, USB-C port, and also a household socket, which is nice. I can also recline the seats just like this. Pull it up, recline it, just like that. Up front, the two 12-inch display looks spectacular and especially striking because of how curved they are. The resolution on these are also very high, and the new software paired with new processor also works really well, making the whole experience very smooth and super user-friendly. What's even better is that wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay finally come standard across all of the Santa Fe trims for this generation, which, to be honest with you, is long overdue. The steering wheel design is quite familiar to the ones you find in Range Rover, but I think it looks nice. Comment down below if you think this is a good move on Hyundai's side. And of course you have the 4 dots, which stands for H in Morse code, which is a neat touch. Down in the center here, a lot of physical buttons, which I'm so glad they're bringing back. However, there are still a few frequently used buttons like heated seats and heated steering wheel that are touch capacitive. If they could just turn it into a knob or something like that, that would be nice. Down here, wireless charger is included with the XRT trim, but if you go with the higher Ultimate Calligraphy trim, you actually get 2 wireless charger, so both you and your passenger can charge at the same time, while connected to the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, bear in mind. Of course, this being the XRT trim, you get XRT logos on the seats themselves, which look very nice. Over here, the new Santa Fe actually offers you 2 glove boxes, and on the higher trim, instead of a glove box up top, you get a compartment with a UV sanitizer, which allows you to clean your stuff, your phone, whatever it is. A little late for COVID, but hey, it's still there, it's still nice to have. The center console also offers a very generous amount of space. Paired with the smart mechanism in the second row drawer, I think it's a win. The overall cabin looks really nice, and I do enjoy the age pattern across the entire vehicle. Gives this vehicle a little bit of an identity because of how different it looks to the previous generation. Okay, we've talked about the exterior, we've talked about the interior. I think it's time to go for a drive. Starting off the drive, I want to talk a little bit about value. Over the past couple of years, we've seen car prices gone through the roof. First, the used market, and then, slowly but surely, the new vehicle market also got expensive. I hate to say it, but 49,000 Canadian dollars for a mid-size 3-row SUV is actually a pretty good deal. To put into reference, the Ford Maverick that we tested last week is the same price as this, and that's a compact pickup truck with a whole lot of plastic. The Honda CR-V EXL Hybrid that we tested a while ago had a very similar spec sheet, except one less row of seats. In terms of direct competitors, the Toyota Highlander base model with cloth seats starts at the same price as this, and then the Honda Pilot starts at a whopping $55,000. Now yes, the XRT trim is not fully loaded, but in my opinion, it's got most of the things I want already. Only missing maybe the panoramic sunroof, rear heated seats, a head-up display, and memory seat for the most part. For this generation, Hyundai has also made the Santa Fe much more refined, including the powertrain. Which brings me to the transmission. I was definitely skeptical when Hyundai started putting a dual-clutch transmission in the last-gen Santa Fe. I mean, it's a non-performance family SUV, but to my surprise, it was actually decent to drive. And for this generation, I find that the DCT tuning to be much more refined. It doesn't hunt for gears, and it's also very predictable on starts, even on slow-speed uphill starts. I've tried to find scenarios where it would create jerkiness, but I couldn't really find anything. The only time I was able to find a little bit of jerkiness is when I'm reversing out of sort of a dip. 277 horsepower isn't a whole lot, but 311 pound-feet of torque works really well. And it's available down low at 1700 RPMs. Power overall is pretty adequate for this vehicle. Steering is not the sharpest, but I do get some road feedback, which is fantastic. Suspension tuning is good, and the smaller 18-inch rims definitely help with the ride quality. Although I would say that the all-terrain tires is a tad bit louder on the highway. I think the all-seasons would also help with the fuel efficiency just a little bit. Speaking of fuel efficiency, I actually managed an impressive 8 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway and around 11 to 13 liters per 100 kilometers in the city. For the safety suite, no 360 camera on this trim, but it does have front and rear parking sensors. Lane keep assist, lane centering assist, and adaptive cruise control work well, but it does not have the highway drive assist. If you want an even more elevated autonomous driving experience, you'd have to go for the higher trims. The blind spot warning also beeps at you, which is awesome. Now I do have two small complaints though. First, the center digital screen with all your climate control is not bright enough. On a sunny day, I can barely see it. Paired with it being touch controls, the experience is not great. The second thing is that the digital cluster themes are cool, and I like to change it every now and then. However, if I want to use the analog gauge style, I can't see my speed in digits, which is, I think, a drawback. I wish they could just put my speed in the middle as well. To sum it all up, I really like this new Santa Fe. I love 75% of the exterior looks, the rest of the 25% of course being the rear. The interior fit and finish is also fantastic, with plenty of leatherette and soft touch materials. The powertrain is more refined than ever, and most importantly, it has a really strong value proposition. I think this might just be the new middleweight champ. Alright, that wraps up today's review. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this new Santa Fe and whether if you're gonna buy one. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.